Hey, this is Mike. Thank you so much for choosing this video. Today I'm checking out a 2022 Nissan Frontier 4-wheel drive in the Pro-4X crew cab trim level. This truck is sitting on 265/70 hand-cooked tires wrapped around 17-inch alloy wheels with a matte gray finish. It also has 4-wheel disc brakes with ventilated rotors on all 4 wheels. The name of the color is Tactical Green. And as the name suggests, it's a very military looking green. So here in the front, you can see it's much more modern looking truck now with the new redesign. And here in the center, this is all like a matte gray, kind of matches the wheels here. Now right in there, you can see the Nissan emblem. You notice it's a red or an orange color. It kind of looks different to different people, but it looks kind of orangey to me. And typically this will be white here in this area on other trims, but since it's the Pro-4X, it has that different color. You also notice a little camera right in here, and that's part of that 360 camera system, a round view camera system it has, and I'll show you that on the inside. It also has these red tow hooks down here at the bottom, or recovery hooks, here and here. Then there's a little trim piece right in here that's metallic in color. If you look way under there, there is a skid plate here in the very front, right under there. This is the radar adaptive cruise control sensor. So that's where the radar sensor, locates vehicles in front of you and is able to tell the distance between you and them. This outer portion, this is just for style. There's no airflow that goes into this. Now the headlights and the housing has a really nice daytime running light that's very visible during the day, and it looks really sharp and crisp. It's all LEDs on this vehicle. So the headlights, no turn signals, all LED. The headlights are multi-reflector, so the outer reflectors, there's 5 of them total. The outer 3 is the low beams. The inner 2 is the high beams, which turn on in addition to the low beams. And it does a fantastic job of just illuminating everything in front of you. I have a night video, so you can check that out to see what it looks like going down the road at night. The fog lights are interesting because there is a little projector lens in here. You can see the lens, but there's also some little reflectors here as well, and it kind of reflects the light and kind of spreads it out, apparently, to get a better view. In addition to the sensor here for the radar adaptive cruise control, there's also a little camera right here on the top of the windshield, and that keeps an eye on the road. This vehicle has the lane departure warning system, so it's able to not only tell you if you're going outside of your lane, but it also looks at street signs, and it can let you know what the last speed limit sign is that you've passed, which is really handy because sometimes you don't know if the speed limit's changed or anything, and it has a constant reminder there on the dash, which is great. Also, I want to point out, check out the approach angle here. So you can see that the vehicle kind of sweeps up a little bit, which allows for a greater approach angle to those front wheels. Looking at the profile of the vehicle, you can see that flat black that we saw in the front. It's like a grayish black. It kind of extends here around the sides and around each wheel well. But you can see right down here is a step, which matches it, but this is kind of like an add-on right here. So, and it gives you the steps. Me personally, I don't use this step typically, especially a vehicle this high off the ground. So I typically have to step over this to reach the ground. So for me, I would take that off. But it also kind of acts like a rock rail type thing, except for these things that kind of poke out. And they kind of lower the ground clearance. So if you're doing a lot of off-roading, probably these would not be good, depending on what you're doing though. So it has body-colored handles, body-colored side mirrors. The pillar here is blacked out, which is a flat black, and it kind of extends here, so kind of solidifying this glass, especially if you were to tint the front glass as well. Now this one has these aluminum tubes here on the back. Now these bars are intended to be like rollover type bars, but they're kind of like an add-on. The only problem I have with them is that if you try to reach something in the bed right here, you can't do it. It just completely blocks your ability to just reach down and grab something. You have to actually get in the back of the truck to grab something small there in the front. So that's something to think about. The key looks like, and it's the same basic key that Nissan's used for years and years, and it's a really good design. It's kind of small, lightweight, easy to slip in your pocket. It does have a physical key on the inside if you need it, which you will actually need it on this truck, because the tailgate, you'll need to physically lock it if you need to lock it. You can see the Nissan logo has the white around it, and has the lock and unlock, panic button, and remote start. So using the key, you don't have to take it out of your pocket. So right now it's in my pocket. It could be in a bag or whatever, as long as it's with me on the outside of the door. It doesn't work with it on the inside of the door in this particular case. So right now it's locked. If we want to unlock it, first press unlocks this door, not this door, okay? If we want to unlock the back door, we press it again, it unlocks the rest of the doors. So now this door and this door is all unlocked. So first press, you unlock just the door you're at, whether it be the front driver or the front passenger seat or door, and we can access that door only without unlocking the whole vehicle with the first press. And then of course to relock it, you just press this button. Now it's locked. If there's also a physical key location here on the driver's side only. The inside of the passenger side door, you can see it's mostly black. It does have a chrome handle and some gloss black right in there, but everything is all like a flat black basically. Most of the door is soft, hard touch, so all this is hard touch, even up here, and it's not super comfortable if you put your arm on it, but it does have that hard touch surface. This is enclosed, so you can utilize that as a pocket if you want to, and then you have the larger pockets at the bottom. This is soft touch and that is soft touch. It's kind of like a vinyl type material with some stitching there, looking pretty cool. The seat on the passenger side is a manually adjusted leather seat, and it has some interesting designs here. It's kind of like a carbon fiber look here on the sides, and there's some stitching and a French design, regular stitching there, and then some stitched lines here in the center, and then a Pro-4X embroidered in the back of the seat, and then there's like a different design over here, like a honeycomb style. Overall, it's a pretty nice seat. The floorboard has the Pro-4X, like Berber type carpet floor mats, and they do hook in place, even here on the passenger side. Pretty good amount of legroom as well. Glove compartment's locking, pretty standard size, maybe a little bit on the smaller size, smooth plastic on the inside. Inside the glove compartment area, there is a fuse box compartment as well. So this is a soft touch surface, not super duper soft, but it is softer touch than say the hard touch dash. There is a handle to help you get in and out of the vehicle there. So you can see the opening here in the front, really wide open space here, easy to get in and out of the vehicle, plenty of headroom, and also the seat is quite a ways off the floor, so you kind of feel like you're in a chair. Just overall nice experience getting in and out of the vehicle here in the front. In the back, this is the crew cab, so this is the larger area, and you'll notice lots of headroom, but the space between here and there is much smaller than the front, of course. And the swing of the door is, I would say, as far as basically you can go with it. You might be able to swing it a little bit more, but right there is pretty good. As far as getting in and out of the back, it's not a big deal. There is much less space, but that's just the way it is with this vehicle, and that's pretty typical with vehicles, trucks this size. I mean, you're going to have a little bit of smaller door here in the back, but it's still pretty impressive how comfortable it is when you get into the vehicle. And you know, as long as the front seats, even if the front seats are all the way back, it's still, you got some leg room and you got some knee room, and the seats are not sitting on the floor, which is nice. So the inside of the back door, very similar styling as the front. You know, you got some soft touch here and there, rest of it's the hard touch. This is enclosed like the front. You have the large pockets there at the bottom. Do have the privacy glass back here though. But you can see as far as getting in and out, the leg room is kind of like, that's kind of the limiting factor. Plenty of headroom here, but you just kind of have to pay attention when you're getting into the back. But once you get in place, it's fine. And the back seat is basically a bench seat. It does have a handle to help get in and out. So you can kind of jump in there and slide around, slide in place. It does have a center armrest and cup holders there. You can move that out of the way if you need a center passenger. It does have the latch system for car seats, and basically they're just right here. It's really easy to get to. You can see that. The back of both front seats have these pockets, so you can put some stuff in there. And it's like a soft cloth on the inside. USB-C and regular USB charge ports, plus a power inverter, 400 watt max power inverter, 120 volts. And check out the legroom. So you don't have much of a hump there in the middle. So lots of legroom here. Having a big hump in the middle is really impedes the center passenger, but also just in general. So it kind of allows you to, with this very, very shallow hump in the middle, it kind of allows just the passengers to have more room in general, just leg room, and different options as far as positioning their legs. Now this seat lifts up, but it also the back part tilts forward. So let's do the tilt forward thing first. And we can see behind the seat there is a you saw the spare tire under the vehicle in the beginning of the video. There is a tools and the jack here for the spare tire. Plus the anchors for the car seats are here as well. So you can see them right there. There is a manually sliding rear glass back here. Now the headrests are removable in case you need some more visibility back here, because as we'll see, the headrests do kind of get in the way, especially connected with the pillars back here. They kind of add to the blind spot area. When you lift up the bottom part, you can see this has this plastic tray that you can put some stuff in here, and it kind of keeps it secure underneath the seat. But also this tray is removable. So you have these little twists right here, here, and here. So you untwist those and you can take this out if you want to. If for whatever reason you need to, you could do that. On the other side, you can see it's a 60-40 split. So on the other side, behind this seat, is actually where you find the rod where you can lower the spare tire, is located there. And underneath this seat, on this side, is the subwoofer for the sound system, the Fender sound system. So it does not have any storage on this side. Taking a look at the back of the vehicle, starting here at the top, we saw that it has these bars here. But right above that, there's a black shark fin antenna. Now the bars have the third brake light here, as well as the bed illumination there as well. The tail lights are LED, so the turn signals, the reverse lights, tail lights, all that stuff are LEDs. They look really nice. Now there's no turn signal indicator on the side mirror though. I think they did a great job with the location of the backup camera. It's in this very center position, and it's in a high center position, and it goes together with the camera system that's on the underside of each side mirror, as well as the one in the front center. It gives you that complete view around the vehicle, and we'll see that on the inside. We also have the Nissan badge back here, the Pro-4X badging as well. Parking sensors across the back, so you have some located here in the black portion, and then the green portion here that's body colored. It does have a trailer tow package as well, with the 4- and 7-way outlets here that are above the bumper, easy to get to and stay relatively clean, which is all a plus. So this one has this step right here, so you can just kind of like pull it down like so, and you can step on it and enter and exit the bed of the truck way easier than trying to step here on the bumper, especially considering this part right here, you can't step on it because it'll scratch the paint there. So it does give you a place to step with that, and then push it up like so to get it out of the way. The tailgate is it's damped coming down, and it's assisted going up. You can feel it's really easy. You just barely lift up on it and it's able to close easy. But you can see, so like say if you wanted to get into the bed of the truck, there's no place here. Typically I would step here on the bumper and then get in. So this, with that painted surface there, you couldn't step there. So it's a good thing it has that step. So you'll notice that it has, in the inner portion of the tailgate has a plastic composite material protecting it. The rest of it is a spray-in bed liner over a metal surface. It has fixed tie downs here, one up here, there in the front, and here. There's also a power inverter here as well. You can see that. Let me lift that up so you can see it's a 3-prong like you'd find in your house. And this one is 400 watts as well as the one on the inside. Now it has these tie-down cleats which are movable, so we can move that one anywhere on this rail. These here anywhere on the rail, except for of course where the those tubes are connected. But there's also this little guy right here, which is removable if you need to get it out of the way. So this is basically a handle. Just kind of pull it out, lift it up, snaps in place there. So the idea is that when you're getting in the bed, let's go ahead and use this step. Go ahead and push it down. And then, so the idea is you put your foot here, and then you grab this. And you're able to pull yourself up into the bed of the truck. So, it's not a whole lot different than just grabbing the side of the truck there, the side. But you get a firmer grip, and you get a secure grip on it, because you can see on the side of the truck here is smooth, so there's not like a handle or anything that you can really get a secure grip on, so that kind of gives you that secure grip. Same thing with going down. You're able to grab a hold of it and step down and make sure that you don't fall. It has a really good solid feel to it. Put it down, you just pull it out, lower it, snaps in place. So the bed length, so there with the tailgate up, you can see it's like 4'11", 59 inches. With the tailgate down, all the way to the flat surface anyway, right here is 6'10". Of course it extends out a little bit more, but this is where whatever you're laying on here is gonna stop here. So like if you're putting sheetrock or something here, it's gonna be laying on this surface, not that surface. So 6'10" inches. Between the wheel wells is roughly 3 feet 8 inches. So this is not wide enough to fit sheetrock or plywood flat in the bed, unfortunately. It's just a little bit too narrow. And the height of the side is about 21 inches. The fuel door is here on the driver's side, and it's a very traditional door cap, and it has this little tether that you can hang here to get the cap out of the way while you're pumping gas. Now it's wide open in there. It doesn't have the normal bottleneck that some vehicles have, so you want to keep that in mind, that you don't drop anything in there. It doesn't have a flap or anything, and you might be able to accidentally put a diesel nozzle in there is what it looks like, so I'm going to keep that in mind. Starting it up, as long as you have the key inside the vehicle, you just hold the brake and push this button. Here's the floorboard in front of the driver's seat. Now you notice the floor mat hooks in place just like the other side, except for this side it has the Pro-4X Frontier badging in it. A little bit of protection there. There's your accelerator, brake pedal, foot actuated parking brake, and a little footrest there, which is just carpeted here on the left side. Let's take a look under the hood. To open the hood, there's a latch a little bit to the right of center. So it's right in here. Just reach in, move it to the left, and lift up. And actually, it has shocks there to hold the hood up. It doesn't go up very high, which is good that it, you can reach it easier, but could bump your head on it as well. So you can see the latch is right here. All right, so there's some insulation there under the hood. There's some seals around the outside, help controlling the airflow and noise and stuff, which is a very quiet truck. Very impressed with the noise. As far as like driving it around, you don't hear any exterior noise, you don't hear engine noise very much. Just they did a great job with the sound isolation. Okay, so there is a insulated firewall, and there's batteries, very easy to get to. It's insulated as well. So this has a V6, and it's a very traditional design. They've had this particular engine out for a few years, so it's been proven on the market with customers and everything. Great transmission, love the transmission. So the transmission is a 9-speed, and there's something about it. There's something about the 9-speed. It's nothing like the 9-speed in, say, the Honda Ridgeline. It just really nice shift points and smoothness to it. It just feels natural and not wonky or any. There's no quirks whatsoever with the transmission that I've found. My experience has just been impressive. Being impressed by the transmission, the engine performance, and the noise. Just being quiet and everything. It's just been a really fantastic as far as experience in the drivetrain. The inside of the driver's side door is just like the other side, except for it has a few more buttons. So the power windows, only one is automatic, one touch up and down. And it does have the insulated glass as well. So it's a double pane glass here with acoustic material there on the inside. That helps with the sound from entering into the vehicle. It does have the blind spot detection system, and the indicator is here on the side mirror. You can see a little indicator. It's not super bright, it's easy to miss, but if you look for it, you'll see it. And these are heated side mirrors as well. So there's a door lock controls. You adjust the side mirrors here. You just turn it to pick a side, and you can adjust it like a little joystick, which is nice. So power seat here for the driver's seat. The only issue though is that it's very limited. It has up and down, tilt the back, but you can't tilt the bottom. So the angle of the seat is kind of fixed. You can go up and down with it. You can go forward and back, so that kind of thing. But there's times in which I'm driving, it's like I just want to tilt the seat just a little bit. You can't do that. So you can just go up and down, but you can't tilt it. Go forward and back and tilt the back part, and that's it. But the seats are pretty nice. I mean, it depends on the person. It's something you have to get in and try it, take it for a test drive, make sure the seats are going to work, maybe sit in the seat for a little while. To the left of the steering column, we saw the hood latch here. To the left of that, you can see there's the button to lock the rear axle, and that's separated from the four-wheel drive system for some reason. And then over here is the traction control. You can turn it off. Default will be on, so if you need to spin tires for whatever reason, you can turn that off. You can turn on the cargo lamp here. This is the downhill descent. Technically, you can go up or downhill, and it'll basically keep you crawling forward in an off-road environment. Very, very slow, but keep you at a significant momentum, so that way you're not bogging down is the idea, especially like loose gravel, rocks, that kind of thing. This button is a quick way to turn off the blind spot detection system and also the lane departure alert system. Right in here is to turn on the power inverters. You saw those in the back seat and also in the bed of the truck. You can turn that on or off here. There is a tow mode. So if you're towing a trailer, you want to go ahead and enable that. Lets the vehicle know that it has some additional weight it has to handle. And then dimmer switch for your interior gauges. There's also the ability to reset a trip. And there's 2 trips, so you push it to access the one you want and then press and hold it to reset it. Now the steering column is tilt, but no telescoping. So right here in the center, right in here, you kind of need 2 hands to do it. You can release it and you can go up and down with it, but there's no telescoping steering column. I'm sitting in the driver's seat checking it out, and I have the driver's seat all the way down and all the way back. I'm 6 feet tall, and it's just a little tiny bit too far back for me. I need to pull it up just a hair. So if you're maybe a little bit over 6 feet, you should have no problem driving this vehicle, or under. Now the seat does have a height adjustment, but it doesn't have a tilt. So you want to keep that in mind when positioning the seat. Make sure that it's going to be right for you, the tilt and all that as well. And the steering column does not telescope, it only tilts. So that's another thing that you have to consider when getting in the vehicle and positioning everything for you. So the steering wheel is very comfortable. It has a little bit of softness to it, good thickness, just feels really good in the hand. And it's been a pleasure to drive as far as the steering wheel goes. Now it does have some gloss black going on here around the buttons, and here on the right side, the buttons, there's the cruise control, and you do have to turn it on each time you drive the vehicle. So you turn it on, and then you can go ahead and set it, and then resume going up. So pull down to set, up to resume, and then your cancel there. You can set the distance between you and the vehicle in front of you. There's 3 set distances, and you just rest on the one that you want. It tends to be a little tiny bit closer, even at the furthest setting, depending on how fast I am, but it seems like a little bit too close for my comfort, typically, but not always. It depends on how fast you're going. But one of the things about the cruise control is that it automatically turns off if the road departure warning system detects like you're going off the road. So it just automatically, sometimes just seemingly no reason, it just thinks you're gonna go off the road. So it'll beep and then just turn off the cruise control, and I have to reset it, and maybe a few minutes later it'll beep and turn it off. So it's one of those things that I'm not sure if it's a software update can improve that or what, but it is a little annoying. And it's not all the time, but it seems like sometimes on certain roads it's kind of frequent, but usually it's no problem. On the left side, there's the voice recognition. Go ahead and push that so you can see the options here.
Please say or select a command.
But
canceling voice recognition.
So it has that voice, and then you can say certain preset commands based on what you want to do, like make a call or something. There's the volume for the radio. Down here is to answer a call. Like if somebody calls you, you can push that to answer, push it again to hang up. Volume for the radio. Now you would assume that these buttons are for changing through the audio tracks or the radio stations, since it's right there next to the volume button, but it's not. This is for the screen here between the gauges. We'll get to that in just a minute. So is this. This is for the screen, but this is to change the audio source. Now this button controls the screen, but it also, depending on what part of the screen you're in, this up and down changes through the radio station or the tracks, say on your device. But it's kind of funny because instead of, like, if you have a list of songs on your phone and you want to go to the next song, you have to push up, not down. So for example, if you have this playlist here on your device, when you go up on the switch, it goes down on the list. When you go down on the switch, it goes up on the list. So it doesn't make any sense to think of it as a list, up and down on a list, even though that's what it is on a phone. The way I think of it is that you pull down to go back and then push forward, up to go forward. So back, forward. So that's a way of thinking about it, visualizing it in my mind so I can remember which way I'm actually going. The windshield wiper controls are here on the right side. The turn signal's here on the left, but the turn signal also has the headlight switch. So there's off, automatic, headlights, the parking lights on, and then there's the headlights on. And then the fog lights are controlled here. This is what the gauges looks like, and the tachometer RPM gauge is here on the left side. On the right side is the speedometer. At the bottom of the speedometer is the fuel gauge. On the bottom of the tachometer is the engine coolant temperature. Now there's a screen here in the center which gives you additional information. It lets you know if your systems, as far as your lane departure warning systems, on or off, and the blind spot detection system there. And also You can see it says the distance to empty, or range, outside temperature. Right here, you see that little square? That's actually your speed limit. So as you drive, there's a camera that keeps an eye out for the speed limit sign, and it'll let you know what the last speed limit sign says, which is very convenient. Digital speedometer right now there in the center, we can change that, and it gives us our average speed. Odometers here, what gear we're in, and also the status of the drive system. Say we're in four-wheel drive, or if we have the differential, engaged, that kind of thing. Now, if we scroll to the left and right, so these buttons right here, left and right, the ones that I originally thought was for the radio, you scroll to the right or left. Now Nissan's, it's a Nissan thing. This steering wheel is not specific to this particular vehicle. It has these same controls on a lot of other Nissan. So scrolling to the right and left, so you can see the first one here is the off-road information. It gives you the pitch and roll of the status of how level the vehicle is, left, right, forward, and back. And then here's the status of where the power is going, and right now it's in two-wheel drive, so it's going to the rear wheels. Go to the right again, auxiliary gauges. And these screens that you don't go up and down, you can only go left and right, those are the ones that will actually change the radio. But we'll get to the ones that you go up and down in. So these are additional gauges here. So right now is the transmission temperature and the battery voltage. The voltage of the system here is the next one. And then there's additional gauges here with the oil pressure and then the oil temperature of the engine. Next one is it's like a trip, which you do have an additional trip now, but this is like a trip that you can reset, and it has the distance traveled, it has a timer, and also the average miles per gallon. Now that's separate from the trip that we have a button down here next to the gauge dimmer switch. We can press that and cycle through. There's a trip A, trip B, and then it goes back. So you can reset those independently. And then you also have this one, which gives you additional information besides just the amount of distance you've traveled. Going to the right again shows the fuel economy, a real-time gauge, and also an average. The next one is whatever your radio is doing. The next one is the digital compass, which way the vehicle's facing. The next one is whatever the traffic sign is, that little one at the top. It just kind of shows you in a larger screen there. The next one is your driving aids. So this is where you can turn on or off, or the status of the driving aids. What's on and off. You can't change it right here, but you can see what's on and off. So the forward collision warning, the blind spot detection system, and the lane departure alert. And the lane departure alert just basically vibrates the steering wheel when you go over the lane. Going to the right again, tire pressure. Again, now we're getting into settings in which you go up and down on the switch here, and this is where you can go in and turn things on or off and adjust the vehicle the way you want it. You can even do a reset here. And then it scrolls back to the original screen that we're in, which shows the digital speedometer, and that would be my default screen. So there's quite a bit of information there. You don't have to scroll through any of this stuff. It's just there in case you need the information or want the information, or just have it changed. Let's say you don't want a digital speedometer, you want to keep it on the road signs or have other information there, you can do that as well. To the right of the steering column, we saw the start button there, but here is the rest of the four-wheel drive controls. This is the actually main four-wheel drive controls, as opposed to the other ones were kind of additional features. So there's a four-wheel drive high, but there's no four-wheel drive automatic. So two-wheel drive just simply gives you, two-wheel drive truck, and then four-wheel drive high, and then four-wheel drive low. So it's pretty simple. There's no automatic engaging of four-wheel drive. You do have to turn it on. there's a pocket here at the top, just kind of a quick access pocket. It doesn't have like this rubber, kind of plasticky rubber insert that you can take out and clean, put it back in. But it's a little bit not rubbery enough. It's too plasticky and it kind of slides around. So keep that in mind. It's not the same deal as like say right in here, there's a rubbery pad here which keeps your device from sliding. It has a different deal. If it was rubbery, then it'll be better. It kind of slides around too much. So here's the touchscreen, and looks really good. It's very functional. It has the volume tuned through the stations, physical knobs, which a lot of people appreciate. Also physical buttons here for navigating through the system, you know, quick shortcuts. And also here on the screen, you have these buttons here that you can access quickly. So your phone, information about the vehicle, your audio, what's playing on the audio. You have two different sources. So AM, FM, satellite radio, 2 USBs, a Bluetooth audio, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. All right, so we'll hit the back button. You notice those icons go away on certain screens. So we're in the Bluetooth. You also have the satellite radio. Let's see what that screen looks like. And you see it's kind of colorful. It has the icons there on the presets. USB is grayed out because there's no device connected. And then the last one over here is settings, so we can go in here and set up what we want. So the buttons down here are kind of quick access. So the menu takes you to, you know, like on the home screen on your cell phone. It's kind of like that, where it kind of has these icons here, has some additional information, which is pretty cool. Has widgets and icons. You can hit the map button here or here on the screen. So you have the map, and you can pinch zoom, get your bearings, see where you're at, and of course you can put in a destination. You can save destinations. You can zoom in and out here as well. So we can change the day and night mode here as well. So we push that button. You notice that the screen was very bright. So at nighttime it kind of blasts too much brightness. You can go ahead and change it to the darker mode, which looks really nice. Even during the day it looks pretty good. And there's a back button here that you can back out of certain screens. Like right now you can't get back out of it. One of the things I would suggest on the screen is having the icons, the main icons here at the bottom all the time. Because so I'm in the map screen now, and there's navigation related icons at the bottom. I hit the back button, it's hard to, you can't get out of it. So you have to go back to this screen in order to get those icons back up. The main icons like phone, audio, connections, and connections for Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, to kind of get out of that screen. So being able to, which it does have the physical buttons down here for the audio, the menu, and the map, and also the ability to change through tracks and stuff. So the physical buttons are helpful, but having a just like consistent menu that you can choose from, which other brands do, I think it's a little bit more intuitive, which this is, it's not bad. You just have to get used to it. It's just a little bit different than a lot of other screens. Now let's push the camera button, because this is important. This vehicle has a full around view 360 camera system, and you can pull it up by pushing the camera button, or you can put it in reverse and it'll give you the reverse view. Right now it's actually showing in the front of the vehicle, and as you turn the steering wheel you can see it gives you those active guidelines there in the front as well. When you go in the back, when you put it in reverse, it'll give you the reverse ones. But if you push it again, it gives you a closer view of that tire up there. So we can turn this wheel and you can see right where the wheel is in relationship to whatever it is, like a curb or whatever you're getting close to. Now let's go ahead and put it in reverse while we're on the camera, so we can see the backup camera, the active guidelines, and now we have a top-down view here that we can see around the vehicle. Now it uses the camera to detect motion. So if we're sitting still like this, and there's something around the vehicle that it detects, it'll actually it'll highlight the area in which it detects it, which is pretty cool. And I discovered this going into the car wash, and the little car wash sprayer is going around the vehicle, and the vehicle's detecting it and like letting me know that there's something there, which is pretty cool. Now when we're in reverse, we can go ahead and push this button and get different views here, so we can still see the tire out there on the side. Push it again though, and it just gives you just the rear view. So if you just want to really focus on the rear view and see what's behind you, you can do that. So below the screen there's the 4-way flashers, and then the climate control is down here. So it's a dual zone. Driver and passenger temperatures can be controlled here, and if they're automatically synced to be the same temperature. You can hit this dual button. You see it lights up, so that way you can adjust this one separately. Now, or you can just start turning this knob and it'll automatically put it in that dual mode. So that way you can have a separate temperature there on the right side. On the far left is the front defroster and the heated side mirrors here. Fan speed, you can turn the climate control on and off here. Mode is where you want the air to blow. Turn the air conditioner on, recirculate the air or outside air coming in. 12-volt power supply here. Heated seats is just a high and low and off on the passenger and the driver. There's also a heated steering wheel as well. Now it has parking sensors, and the parking sensors will, if they're beeping or something, you can turn them off. But you can see the little status light letting you know that they're on or off. USB charge port for USB-C and regular USB. There's a little storage compartment, pretty good size storage compartment here. And it has that plasticky piece in there, but it has a little hole that it goes into, so it doesn't slide around as much as the other one. Kind of stays in place, and it's easy to take out and clean. It has these little things here, like handles here and here. It's kind of neat, but it doesn't feel like a handle. Kind of more for looks, because it's not really contoured to your hand. It has a little bit of a not sharp, but square edge there on the inside, but it's pretty neat. And it's not very, it just doesn't feel like it was intended to be a handle. It was intended to be like just for looks. So there's some cup holders here, and it has the little thing that pulls out, and you can clean it, put it back in. It has a little tab to help you get it out. And speaking of tabs, it has these little tabs here to accommodate for different size cups, keep it from wobbling around. The center is open in the middle to accommodate for handles, or just utilizing this space for other things besides cups. And there's the shifter. It has a traditional shifter, reverse. When you put it in reverse, two things will happen. The camera system will pop up. Also, the parking sensors are now active, and it'll let you know visually there and audibly if there's something there when you're backing up. It also has the rear cross traffic alert system as well, in addition to the blind spot detection system. And the indicators are on the side mirrors. They're not very bright. They kind of blend in since they're in the mirror itself. Sometimes you confuse that for other lights in the reflection, but that's where it is anyway. Alright, there's neutral, drive, and then you can limit the high gear. You can control the shifts by putting it over here, and you can bump it like a ratchet shifter. And forward is to increase gear, pulling it back is to reduce gear. There's a really handy wireless cell phone charger right here, and it's angled to where it just kind of tucks the cell phone right in place, and even with the case on, it still charges, and really handy. But it's a pretty fast charger, so it does heat up the phone quite a bit. And it is right here in direct sunlight, so it might overheat your phone if you're in certain scenarios. I haven't had that problem, but I can envision it actually happening, possibly. I've had my phone overheat before from charging it, but not in this particular vehicle. And it has this rubber piece that you can take out and clean and put it back in, and it stays in there pretty good because it's fitted well into the compartment. You can see that's the charger itself. Here's the center armrest, and it's kind of rubbery soft, not like a pillow soft, but it feels pretty cool. It has a little bit of a texture to it, like a vinyl type surface. Not quite big enough to share with the passenger, in my opinion, but maybe if you're really generous. And this lifts up, and it's kind of spring-loaded up, so it doesn't slam back down on you easily. Kind of stays wherever you put it, which is nice. And there's a little place to put pins or whatever you want there, maybe a tire gauge. And there's a 12-volt power supply in here, but basically there's a black abyss of potential junk drawer space here that you can put some stuff. So I put my business cards in here because it's kind of hard to see. It's just black in there. So hopefully you can see the bottom. And so if they were to, it has like a little felt lining at the bottom. And if they were to replace that felt with a brighter color, or have the inside here a brighter color, I think that would be nice to kind of reflect a little bit of light, and to add a light in here. It's just too dark. Now there is a place for wires to go in and out of this compartment as well. Rearview mirror is an auto dimming rearview mirror. You can turn that feature on or off here. HomeLink garage door opener controls are located at the bottom of it. There's a place to put some shades up here, and there's like a felt lining on the inside of it. Real easy to use. Tap lights give you a little quick reading light. And right in here, the switch is to turn on all the interior lights, turn them all off, or in the center position, it will turn the interior lights on when you open the door. So if you don't want the interior lights to turn on when you open the door, like you got a baby sleeping in here or something, you can turn that feature off real fast right there. So this is for the sunroof. We'll get to that in just a minute. And also you have a roadside assistance button as well. The visor has like a cloth covering, just like the headliner. And it has a little mirror and a light, not super bright, which you could argue that not a very bright light in the mirror is good, so it doesn't ruin your night vision. And also it's not an LED, it's like a standard kind of yellow color, so that might be intentional. And it does slide out, so you can shift your coverage when you're using, especially the side one. If the sun's coming in this way, you can switch it over there. Basically the same thing on the passenger side. So the sunroof has a manual shade that covers up. It's pretty wide sunroof here, and it covers up the light 100%. So you can just kind of push this back, and it's pretty wide. I don't know if you can tell that on the camera here, but it fills up a lot of space. It's not very deep this way, but it's very wide. We can go ahead and go push it back. Push it back again, it goes a tad bit more. Push it forward. And then we could vent it by pushing it. The forward button basically vents it up. There we go. Looking at the visibility, you notice the headrest kind of get in the way a little bit, but other than that, it's really not too bad. Just kind of looking over my shoulder, I can see pretty good. Those pillars right there, the A, B, C pillars, are a little bit wide, and then connected with that, with the headrest, kind of like obscures your view pretty good amount. So that's one thing you got to consider. Now, all vehicles have some sort of blind spots, or spots where you have to be careful. So that's one of the things about this vehicle, is with that headrest in conjunction with the pillar, it causes even more of an issue. But just overall, it's not really a big deal as far as me driving it. I'm used to vehicles with really bad blind spots, so maybe it's just me. Now, it does have the blind spot detection system, the rear cross traffic alert, parking sensors, really nice camera system, all that stuff, which helps you out with that. But it's still not too bad. several things surprised me when I started driving this vehicle. One is how quiet it is. Two, how powerful it is and how well the transmission handles that power. Very impressed. That is something that my Honda Ridgeline, it sounds like the engine's jumping out of the vehicle when you really want to have some power. Sounds like the engine's just, you hear the engine a lot, it revs up really high, and it just doesn't seem like it delivers that power like this vehicle. So this one, you really feel it as far as the responsiveness. The transmission handles the steps appropriately, and it just feels like it's very zippy, and you can zip through traffic and get where you need to go, accelerate, and doing all that without too much noise, without the drivetrain sounding like it's gonna, punch through the hood. But it does rev up a lot. It revs up a whole lot. But since it's so quiet, it doesn't sound like it's, like gonna blow up or something when you're trying to accelerate. Another thing I noticed with this truck over, say, the Ranger, is that it has an off-road package. It is the off-road vehicle, but it doesn't have the bounciness that the Ranger has. The Ranger is just super bouncy to the point where it's very annoying. This one is more reasonable in that regard, even with the leaf springs. The leaf springs in the back it's not really a big deal. They did a great job with taking kind of older technology and put it in a package that not only does it feel like a modern truck, but it has some kind of nostalgia left over with some of the leftover stuff. So like, say this has the hydraulic power steering, and I was kind of surprised with the vehicle in 2022, completely redesigned vehicle in 2022, to have that as a power steering system as opposed to an electrical system or an electric hydraulic. So it's a full, hydraulic system with the belts and the power steering pump and all that stuff. But it's kind of like gives you that nostalgic feeling when you get in the vehicle. It's like, wow, it's been a while since I drove one with that type of system, and you kind of brings back memories. But it is in a well-designed package, and it's enjoyable to drive. Another thing that, like, is a comparison between the Ranger. See, there's so many different vehicles that are drastically different in this segment here. So, like the Honda Ridgeline is not really the same vehicle as this. That's like an SUV with a bed, so it's not really a comparison. Same thing with the Ford Maverick. It's not really the same thing. So, the Ranger is, I guess, the closest that I can think of as far as a comparable. And the Ranger the design of the interior is problematic for me. This one solves all those problems. There's a lot of, the buttons are clearly marked. They're easy to read. They're in, spaced out enough to where you don't accidentally press the wrong button, that kind of thing. And, it's not like super trying to go too fancy with it. It's just kind of upgraded from previous generations. It doesn't look old and outdated, but yet it's, basically a basic truck, body on frame truck with enough power and a really good transmission, and, functional and relatively comfortable. And especially the main thing for me with a truck, in this particular case, is how quiet it is. Some trucks are just loud and obnoxious, and this one is nice and quiet and has good power, and you know, it has a decent enough room, and also the seat's high enough off the floor to where you feel like you're sitting in a chair, as opposed to the Toyota Tacoma where you feel like you're sitting on the floor. And that's like a deal breaker for me with the Tacoma. You know, sitting on the floor with your legs and feet, your feet, legs, and arms completely straight out is what it feels like. And I have to duck my head to get into the Tacoma, so it's just, this is just a much more comfortable, easier riding, quieter vehicle, and so this will definitely consider this over the Tacoma as far as those factors go. Having the full LED lighting system, front and back and everywhere, or multi-reflector headlights. I'm gonna have a night video, so you can check that out. But that's a huge plus over the Ridgeline. The Ridgeline is, you know, even ever since it came out with it in 2017, they kind of didn't really, you know, integrated the LEDs right. Matter of fact, with my Ridgeline, the headlights weren't all that great, and I had to change them almost immediately, you know, to brighter bulbs because they were just kind of too dim. And it wasn't that they were just halogens in that particular case. They were just poor quality halogens, you know, and you know, not the best headlights. This is much better headlights. It looks like a modern vehicle when you look at it, but also when you're going down the road, you have great visibility. And so yeah, I'll show all that in the night video. So having that a little bit of more feel to the steering is, you know, it feels like a truck. You know, it doesn't feel like a car or SUV. It feels like a truck, and you have that. If you're going from an older truck and then you go into this, you're going to really not have too much problems transitioning, because you have a regular shifter. You have, you know, the fundamentals of a truck without having any wonkiness to it. Now you're going to have added things like the camera system, which is great. You have to be going very slow for it to turn on, but I really like that. You're able to see around the vehicle and different views there, and I showed that in more detail before, but that's something that I think is just a luxury to have. Of course, backup camera, blind spot detection systems. So if you're going from an older truck to this truck, you're going to have some modern features, but also have a lot of familiar feel to the driving experience and the quiet, and of course being quiet and all that. Now, if you're just driving, I notice when you're just driving flat out trying to floor it, you know, it feels not as peppy as when you're just kind of zipping through from one place to the next, one street down to the next street, that kind of thing, or zipping through traffic. It just feels like you get a little bit, it stays in that RPM range that's just ideal, and you're able to just have that punch and get through where you need to go. It's really impressive for what it is, you know. It's very impressive, and it doesn't have the automatic stop start feature in it, so every time you come to a complete stop, it doesn't turn the engine off. So I love that fact. I do wish it had the ability to have the camera automatically turn on when you get slow, like you can have that feature turn that feature on or off. But as it is, it's fine. The screen looks pretty good. The resolution of the cameras could be a little bit better, but the screen looks good. It's functional. It's not overly complicated. It has a volume knob. Seems silly to say, but some vehicles, you know, do away with that, the basic things that people are familiar with. And then when you get in a vehicle like that, then it's like there's too much different. It seems too weird, and you know, some people don't want to relearn all the little things like that. Like, so they want a volume knob, they want a regular shifter, and they want to get behind the wheel and drive, and there's no wonkiness to the transmission or weirdness to the, you know, the way they drive, you know. So this one is great in that regard. Now it has some information on the screen, which we saw, and so getting an average of 19.5 miles per gallon, and that is 180 miles driven so far. So 19.5 miles per gallon. It's not quite as good as, say, my Ridgeline on average, but it's definitely more enjoyable to drive and has more power, and the transmission it feels better. So it's not the greatest on fuel, but it's not that bad either, you know. So it has traffic sign detection, lets you know, say, what the last speed limit sign said, that kind of thing. Blind spot detection system. It also has the lane, not the lane keep assist, but the lane departure warning. So if you go over the lane, it'll kind of vibrate the steering wheel a little bit, and you have to go into a sub menu to turn that off independently, but it does have it. You can see the tire pressure. There's a lot of things that are modern in this vehicle. It's like you took a more of an older design and then you modernized it, and that's basically what they did. It's the same frame as the old Frontier, so it's basically, it's exactly what you would think it is, but they did it so well that it's pretty impressive, really. I mean, even though it's the actual meat, the frame of the vehicle and the design is kind of old, but they did such a good job with the total package that it's like, wow, you know, this is actually pretty good. So right here, we can turn on this camera, and you can see how close I am to that car in front of me. But you can see you have certainty on where you're parking on the lines, as far as where you are around the other vehicles, and just overall, excellent system. And you can push the button here, and you can see the tires there on the side. So you can push it, then push it again. Like, say, if you want to, you know, get close to the curb or something like that, you really have the ability to do that. Get really close if you need to. So there you have it. Thank you for watching. I think it's a very impressive vehicle. It's definitely worth a test drive for yourself to kind of feel it, especially if you're, you know, if you're used to driving like an old school style truck. This would be definitely one that I would be in the list for test driving to see if you want to upgrade to a newer model, because this one has a lot of the similarities as the old school trucks, but it has some modern features, which is nice. But anyways, thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time.